My name's Sabrina Ramonov, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT within Google Sheets or Excel using this extension called GPT for Work. So first step is to go to gptforwork.com, like I have here on the website, and then install the extension either for Excel and Word if you're using Microsoft Office, or Sheets and Docs if you're using the Google ecosystem. In my case, I usually use Google Sheets and Docs for everything, so go ahead and install that. And a quick note on pricing. How it works is you buy packs, which include millions of tokens, and in addition to that, you put your API key within the extension. So it's using your OpenAI API key, and on top of that, you're paying for packs. I don't love the pricing, but it is really cool what you can do within Google Sheets. Okay, so once you have installed the extension, go ahead and open a Google Sheets, and you should see it here in your extensions. It's called GPT for Sheets and Docs, and then go ahead and click open. Once it opens up here on the right hand side, it should look like this. Go ahead and click this settings icon over here, click API keys, and make sure to plug in your OpenAI API key and organization ID. Okay, once you've done that, you can select the model you're using here. You can see which ones it supports. For testing stuff, I'll usually use GPT-4 Mini. The one exception here is that if you are accessing the web, by default, GPT-4 Sheets uses Perplexity, even if it says you're using one of these models. You're actually not. You're using Perplexity if you need to access the web. Go back to home. They have awesome documentation. So if you click get started, you can watch a documentation video here along with step-by-step guides. And if you click try quick examples, it shows you a lot of different things you can do. For example, here you can write a tagline, and how it works is just like an Excel or Google Sheets formula, equals, and then GPT. This function lets you put in any GPT prompts you want. You can shorten product names. So for example, apply a prompt to an existing set of rows. You can translate description. So there's actually a built-in function for this, GPT_translate, where you put in the cell and then the source language and the target language. You can do summarization, and again, another built-in function, GPT_summarize. You can apply it to everything in that column. You can categorize, another built-in function, GPT_classify. Analyze sentiments, which is using GPT classify, but then you give it options like very positive, positive, neutral, negative, and so on. You can do extraction. There's a built-in function, GPT_extract, and you can standardize dates, which is really handy, especially if you're web scraping. What I'm going to show you in this video is something that I was just working on a few days ago, which is migrating my prompts library over to Notion. And so the first thing I did here was scrape the prompt URLs from this page. I still want to use GitHub as like my primary source of truth. It'll have the latest prompts, and then my Notion library will just link to the prompts over here. That way I only have to update stuff in one place. So the first step in doing that was actually scraping all of the web URLs to the prompt pages. And here's the script to do that. And this script is really handy because I use it for scraping links on all kinds of pages. So the key parts are actually these top two things here. And then the rest of the script is about downloading the links. So here, I actually use this for scraping like my own TikTok videos. If you go to my TikTok page and load all the videos and run this script, you can actually download the URLs of all my videos. But here we're going to use it for GitHub links. I'm going to change the name here. And we will most likely have to change this. If you're scraping TikTok, this will work for TikTok. If you're scraping Instagram video URLs, you might have to change this as well. So you just check what the URL actually looks like, and then you change this. First, let's check what the URL actually looks like. So we want this URL, okay? Look at the href, so it's /Sabrina Ramonov /prompt/blob/main. So that's what we want. Click edit attributes, and then just copy this part, okay? And then here where video was, I'm just going to replace that, okay? So what this is gonna do is look for links on this page that follow this format and then scrape the link, okay? And then go ahead and click enter. Okay, and then it should be downloaded here in GitHub links.txt. So go ahead and open it. And now you see all the links. And again, this script is really handy. Scrape my own TikTok videos. You can go to like anyone's profile and this will scrape URLs of a certain format. So just a really handy script overall. Now what I want to do, let's import it into a Google Sheet. So I just opened an existing Google Sheet. You can open a brand new one. Click upload, get links. So I'm just going to insert a new sheet. Yeah, let's call this GitHub prompt. We'll call this prompt URL. I think it accidentally imported the array bracket too. That's okay. Okay, cool. So now we have our prompt URL. Let me freeze this as our first row, header row. And there are three things we're going to do and use GPT for Sheets for. We're going to do extract the name of the prompt, a description of the prompt, and classify the prompt. Here is the list of GPT functions on the right-hand side. So you can see these are like built-in functions that help you get started really quickly. And then you can click documentation or example to learn more. So I like to have the documentation for this open so you can see how you're supposed to use it. So here, GPT extract, I worked 5 years at these companies, extract the companies. And before we get started, I want to clean up the data a little bit. So what I usually like to do is go to data cleanup, remove duplicates. Yeah, because I noticed there were a lot of double links. So clean up any links you don't want, like we probably don't want this README, for example. That's pretty much it. Okay, and then what I'm going to use here is you can use just a custom prompt like GPT, but I also like to use their built-in functions. So here we're trying to extract like the name of the prompt from the URL. So we're going to extract from this data field, and then here's the prompt instructions. So we're trying to extract the name of the markdown file without the markdown extension, and just for formatting, capitalize the first letter of each word. Yeah, that is the first letter each word. Let's try that, see if it works. So it should be, in this case, agility story. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, and so if that works fine, typically the process, just like you would normally in Excel or Google Sheets, try it for a couple rows, and then if that looks good, try it for a couple more, and then bulk apply it to all your rows. And I don't have too many rows here, but if you have more than 500 plus rows, there is a functionality called bulk tools over here that works on if you have high volume over 500 rows. So go ahead and apply this formula to, the first 20, and then we'll just stick to that for our video. Okay, great. So pretty much we are using ChatGPT here to extract the name of the prompt from the URL and just clean up the formatting so it's nice and clean. The next thing we're going to do is create a description or a summarization of each prompt. And what's interesting here is you may have noticed I didn't actually scrape the prompt from GitHub, right? Like I kind of just scraped the links. So if you click here, over here to analyze answers, this is the prompt itself. And big shout out, by the way, to Daniel Meisler's Fabric open source repo, where a lot of these prompts have come from initially. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's over here. It's one of my favorite command line tools for running different prompts and piping them together. And so I highly recommend you check this out. Just wanted to give him a shout. Okay, so here's the prompt itself. And I didn't scrape it. I just scraped the URL to it over here. And so now what we're going to do is use their built-in function GPT web. And I love the possibilities of this. It is kind of limited right now. So it uses Perplexity because ChatGPT 4 does not allow web access via the API. So it's using Perplexity right now. And it's also a little bit expensive, but I love the concept of this functionality and wanted to show how you can use it. And you can see more information in the documentation about what this built-in function does. The price is $15 per 1,000 executions. Pretty expensive right now, but I'm excited for this type of functionality. It searches the web to provide up-to-date information and is built on Perplexity.ai's online model. And here's an example. So you just do equals GPT web and then the search query. And also before we do a lot more with GPT for Sheets, I want to enable safe mode. And this helps reduce costs pretty significantly. So here's the information. So when you enable it, it applies to all executions made with GPT-4 as well as the GPT web function, which is what we're going to be using. I like to enable this because then it also enables auto replace formulas here. You actually can't enable this unless you enable safe mode. Basically, after you run a formula and you're confident how it looks, it'll save the results and it will not recalculate the formula. Because one thing I noticed when I first started using GPT for Sheets is like you have a bunch of formulas, and let's say those formulas are dependent on some other cells. If you sort those cells, for example, it will recalculate everything. Or if you change a value in those cells, it'll start recalculating everything. So this helps a lot, just keeping costs low and making sure you don't recalculate things unnecessarily. And then here are the typical parameters that you might want to play with, such as temperature, custom instructions and stuff. Just a note though, these settings don't apply to GPT Web. It only applies when you're using like the other functions, but I just wanted to show it here. And then advanced settings like top P, frequency penalty, and presence penalty. You don't really need to play around with that yet. That's more advanced, but just wanted to show it. So let's try a prompt like this. We're going to use the built-in function GPT Web that I talked about, and we're going to say navigate to the provided URL, which is over here in this column. And it contains a prompt. Your task is to summarize the prompt in 2 sentences. Output only your final answer. Be direct and concise. For example, instead of starting your answer with like a long-winded response, just start your answer with what the prompt does. And here's the URL. So let's try it just for one and see how it does. Okay, let me wrap this so it's easier to read. Okay, analyze user stories and acceptance criteria for Agile Framework topics. Output should be in JSON, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that worked pretty well. And so let's just try it for a few more and see how it does. Analyze prose, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Analyze answers, which is the name of it, by evaluating correctness and adapting the evaluation to the student level. That's correct. Okay. All right. So these 3 look good. So what I'm going to do is drag it to the rest of our data. And for the purpose of video, I'm just using the first 20 rows, but obviously you can drag it to the rest of the records in your sheet. And because we're using safe mode, it is a little bit slower, but that's okay, right? I'd rather it be safer because I tried it without safe mode, accidentally recalculating things all the time. So yeah, we're pretty much done. So analyze Ikigai here. And what's really cool here, I didn't have to actually scrape the prompt, right? I only scraped the URLs and then I used GPT_web, the built-in function, to tell it, go to this website, read it, and summarize the website for me. I skipped that scraping step altogether. So I thought that was pretty cool. And what you'll notice here is after we applied the formula, it auto replaced the formula with the content. If you look at this column, right, we didn't apply the auto replace formulas yet. We hadn't turned it on. So it still contains the formula that populated this column, GPT_extract, so on, so on. But now if you go to this column where we turned on safe mode and auto replace formulas, you can see there's no formula anymore. It just replaced the content of the cell with the final output, which is what you want if you're happy with the output. But if you want to recalculate it again, what you can do is go ahead and go to this first one and drag it to all of the other rows. Okay, awesome. So we got the prompt URL, name, description, and now what I want to do is assign tags to this description so that when I import all of this in Notion, people can easily search by tags, filter by tags. And then to get a list of tags, I just asked ChatGPT. Here's my ChatGPT prompt. I have a list of prompts based on typical usage of ChatGPT, brainstorm 100 prompts that cover all the most common use cases. Output your answer in a CSV. Each tag should be no more than 2 words long. And then here's the actual CSV file with like 100 prompt tags. And then just as a sanity check, I also asked a follow-up question like search the internet. What are the 100 most common use cases? And then I kind of like looked at this list side by side with the CSV, but they matched really well. So I downloaded this CSV, import it into this sheet here, and these are all the tags that we want to apply to the prompts. And one really cool thing about the tag functionality is that it will automatically suggest relevant tags if you don't have a set of user-defined tags already. The step I just showed you where I asked ChatGPT to like brainstorm 100 relevant tags, you technically don't have to do that. You can just have GPT tag and it'll apply tags that it believes are relevant. Just to show you what I mean here, let's just do GPT tag and let's not put in our user-defined tags. So here I just said GPT tag and then this is the data to tag. Okay, and you can see the tags applied here and I didn't have to input my user-defined list. So if you don't have a user-defined list of tags, ChatGPT can do it automatically for you. then just to compare, let's try the same function. So GPT underscore tag here. But now let's feed in my list of tags over here. Okay. And let's just wrap everything. Oh, that's a lot of tags. So what we can probably do is limit the number of tags to like the top 3. But you can see the difference here. So these are the tags automatically determined by ChatGPT 4.0. These are the tags from my user defined list, which also was provided by ChatGPT. But I think when it comes to searching ChatGPT prompts, like this list on the right is more intuitive and a better categorization than this list on the left. And that's why I'm using user-defined tags. Let's put it back in this column, but let's limit the number of results. And then we're going to use the tags over here. And then if you forget the documentation, just go here and you can see these are the parameters. So we actually want to set top K, the maximum number of tags to return. And there's a parameter before it, examples, so we'll leave that blank. Let's do top K up to 4 tags. Okay, so analyze text, coding, software, data science. All right, let's apply these on a few more and see what the results are. Okay, it's pretty good. I would probably just limit the number of results. So I feel like 4 is honestly too many. Let's do like 3 max. But the tagging quality itself seems fine. And also here is where you can play around with different settings and stuff like creativity. You set that to like 0.5. We're using 4.0. Yeah, that's what we want. And then, yeah, let's do top K3. Let's apply this to like a bunch more, I'm sure. And you may have noticed I disabled safe mode and you can see like how quickly the results were populated. So it is quite substantially noticeably faster when you turn safe mode off. But the downside, again, is that these are all linked to formulas to show you what I mean. So let's say we change like a tag, like career advice to career advices. It's actually going to recalculate everything in this column that's dependent on that array of tags. And so just to show you, I'm actually going to change that back, but and now it's going to recalculate again. So just from a sanity perspective and cost perspective, normally you want to turn safe mode on, unless you're just trying to test stuff really quickly and just want to see the results very quickly. That's when I would turn safe mode off. And you can learn more about that here. So in the documentation GPT for Sheets, control GPT formulas, there's a section and page called Avoid Recalculations. So this explains all the triggers for formula recalculation. There actually are a bunch of triggers. It's much safer to do safe mode when you're applying these operations in bulk. Okay, so we're done with a tag. You can see all the tags that have been applied here. And this is pretty much ready to go. So just to recap what we did, we started with this GitHub repo containing prompts. And remember my script to scrape all the links here. And then we put the prompt URLs here. Then we used ChatGPT extract to extract the name of the prompt from the URL. And then we used we deleted the formula, but we used GPT Web, which uses perplexity.ai under the hood. And we told it, go to this URL, read the prompt, and summarize the prompt in 2 sentences. Incorporated web scraping without having to do any of the scraping ourselves. I didn't have to scrape the prompt for each of these URLs. All I did is tell GPT Web to go and read the prompt and then summarize it for us. And then we used the built-in function GPT tag to apply a user-defined list of tags. We also tried it out without a user-defined list, and ChatGPT just applied the tags that it thought were most relevant. Now we have this, and really the next step is just importing it into my prompts library. And so this is my prompts library updated and in Notion so that it's easier to search. If you haven't seen this or don't know how to use Notion, basically this is the table containing the prompts. I put some categories here as well just for easy navigation. So if you click on like content creation, you'll see a bunch of prompts that you can use for content creation. And then the key thing here is to actually go to the URL, right? So here, that's the URL. This over here, I hope people don't get confused, but this is just a description of what the prompt does, a 2-sentence summary of what the prompt does. The actual prompt is over here in this URL. I hope this video is helpful. If you have more requests for ways to use AI and ChatGPT within Google Sheets or Excel, please drop a comment below. My name's Sabrina Ramonov. Hit like, hit subscribe, and if you haven't already, check out my free newsletter on AI. Go to sabrina.dev and hit subscribe there too.